Okay, welcome back, all of you. In the previous lecture, now since we have laid down the foundation that what is the basic communication system or scenario looks like, and the brief idea about the representation of baseband and the bandpass type of signals. So now we can move on to our unit number 2. As already discussed, we'll begin with unit number 2 first, and then we'll cover up the unit number 1. So unit number 2 is our linear modulation techniques, and in particular we'll study about amplitude modulation only in this unit, and the amplitude AM receivers as well at the towards the end of this unit. So basically we are going to study about amplitude modulation, which is a analog kind of a modulation scheme, or you can say that is a part or integral part of analog communication. Okay, now the very first question, why do we call it a linear modulation technique? The amplitude modulation is called as the linear modulation technique because the parameters, the amplitude, because in case of amplitude modulation, the amplitude of the carrier signal varies. So that variation in amplitude takes place linearly with respect to the message signal. This is the reason we call it a linear modulation technique. First of all, I'll define what is amplitude modulation. Okay, we are well aware about the concept of modulation. Modulation means frequency translation. Modulation means frequency translation. Or we can say that modulation is when a low frequency message signal is superimposed over a high frequency carrier signal. Superimposing a low frequency message signal over a high frequency carrier by varying critical parameters of the carrier signal, which are amplitude, phase, or frequency, right? So this is how we define the modulation process. Now we'll begin with very first type of the modulation technique, that is amplitude modulation. Okay, so in case of amplitude modulation will deal with 3 different types of signal. Okay, one is your message signal, second one is your carrier signal, and third one is your modulated signal. Message signal, as we know, it is a low frequency baseband type of a signal. Carrier signal is a high frequency signal, and modulated signal is again a high frequency band pass type of a signal. High frequency band pass signal. So these are the 3 important signals that will be dealing in case of amplitude modulation. Now comes the type of amplitude modulations. So broadly we can classify amplitude modulation into 4 different categories. First one is your conventional AM, which is also known as double sideband with carrier. This DSBC stands for double sideband with carriers. We'll know more about this nomenclature, double sideband with carrier, as we move on. Second type of the amplitude modulation is double sideband suppressed carrier. Third one is SSP, single sideband suppressed carrier, SSB-SC modulation, which is single sideband suppressed carrier. And the fourth one is vestigial sideband modulation scheme. Alright, so these are the 4 different types of amplitude modulation schemes that we are going to study. First one is double sideband with carrier, that is also known as conventional AM scheme. Then we have double sideband suppressed carrier, single sideband suppressed carrier, and vestigial sideband. Okay, so we'll begin with the very first type, that is conventional AM. Conventional AM, or we also call it as double sideband with carrier, double sideband with carrier type of modulation scheme. Alright, let us assume that MT is your given low frequency message signal, and we have the high frequency carrier signal as CT, which is AC cos omega CT. AC is the amplitude of the signal, omega C is the frequency of the signal. Okay, initially we assume a single tone scenario. Single tone scenario means, by single tone we mean that this message signal has only a single frequency component. Message signal has a single frequency component, and let's say that is omega m. The only frequency component present in the message signal is omega m. So we call it a single tone type of a system. Alright, so the standard expression of amplitude modulated signal. See, I told you that in case of amplitude modulation, the amplitude of carrier signal varies with respect to the message signal. Amplitude of carrier signal is varied in accordance to the instantaneous value of message signal. Okay, this is how we define a amplitude modulated signal, that the amplitude of carrier signal is being varied in accordance to the instantaneous value of the message signal. So this is how we are going to superimpose our low frequency message signal over the high frequency carrier signal, just by changing the amplitude of the carrier signal, right? So now the standard expression of amplitude modulated signal will have the changes that it will be a carrier signal but with some modified amplitude, right? Because only the amplitude is going to be affected. So the amplitude will be affected with respect to the message signal. So the new amplitude will be AC plus MT and cos omega CT. The frequency remains as it is, phase remain as it is, only the change is in amplitude of the carrier signal. The carrier signal was CT, that was AC cos omega CT. So the frequency and phase remain as it is, the amplitude is varied in accordance to the message signal. So this is the standard expression for the amplitude modulated, conventional amplitude modulated signal, in particular DSB-C type of signal, double sideband with carrier. Okay, let us simplify this expression a bit to get better insight of the system. So it is AC cos omega CT plus MT cos omega CT, right? Now let's take a very valid assumption that the message signal is also your sinusoidal signal with expression AM cos omega MT. AM is the amplitude of the message signal, omega m is the frequency of the message signal, and the carrier signal we already know it is AC cos omega CT, right? Substitute this value of MT in this expression, and doing little bit mathematical manipulations, we get XAMT as AC. If we take AC common, it becomes 1 plus AM by AC cos omega CT into cos omega MT into cos omega CT. I hope you are able to correlate this expression. We have just substituted value of MT as AM cos omega MT in this expression, and then taken AC cos omega CT common. That's it. Simple mathematical manipulation. So we can say that This is again the notation for DSB-C type of the signal, that is conventional amplitude modulated signal. Now we define a very important term, which is this ratio AM by AC. This ratio is known as modulation index, represented by mu. It is modulation index, and it is equal to AM by AC. Right? Modulation index is the ratio of amplitude of the message signal to the amplitude of the carrier signal. And the significance of modulation index is that it gives you the measure of the modulation or the extent of modulation taking place. Okay, it gives you the measure of modulation or the extent to which the modulation is being taking place. I will discuss about this in more detail. Or the extent of modulation. This is, always remember, the ratio of AM by AC, ratio of amplitude of the message signal to the amplitude of the carrier signal. Alright. So now let us further simplify this expression of AM signal a bit. We get AC cos omega CT plus AC mu cos omega MT cos omega CT. Right? Let us apply the trigonometric identities. We get AC cos omega CT plus AC mu by 2 cos of omega C plus omega M into T plus AC mu by 2 cos of omega C minus omega M into T. Right, this is your standard expression for the conventional amplitude modulation or double sideband with carrier type of modulated signal. Now let us identify the different components that are present in this expression. What is this AC cos omega CT? This is nothing but your carrier. Alright. And this term AC mu by 2 into cos omega C plus omega M into T, this is your upper sideband USB. And this is your lower sideband. Alright. So hence we can say that we can clearly observe that in the this type of conventional type of amplitude modulated signal, we have three components: carrier, upper sideband and the lower sideband. We have three components present. Sorry. One is your carrier signal, second is your upper sideband, third one is the lower sideband. Hence we give the name double sideband with carrier. There are two sidebands, double sideband with carrier signal. So the conventional amplitude modulation is also known as double sideband with carrier because of this reason, because that is, we have two sidebands along with the carrier signal present in this signal. Alright. So this is the standard expression of conventional AM in time domain. Alright. It is the standard expression in time domain. But we also need to analyze the same expression in frequency domain as well to get more useful information out of this signal. Alright. So we'll take the Fourier transform of this expression to get the frequency domain equivalent of the same. Alright. So we'll find out frequency domain version of this AM signal. Okay, we take the Fourier transform of this, we get the frequency domain version. Alright. So let us find out the Fourier transform of this expression. This, let's name it as your equation number 1. So we'll take the Fourier transform of this. First component is AC cos omega CT. So Fourier transform of AC cos omega CT, I hope all of you are quite familiar with it. It is AC pi del omega minus omega C plus del omega plus omega C. Very simple. Plus What is the second term? Second term is also a cosine signal. So the Fourier transform will be again in the form of impulses, shifted impulses by omega c plus omega m. Alright, so let us write down the Fourier transform of the second component. That is, it will become AC mu pi by 2 del omega minus omega c plus omega m plus del omega plus omega c plus omega m. Alright, similarly we can find out the Fourier transform of the third term, that is this lower sideband. It will be AC mu pi by 2 del omega minus omega c minus omega m plus del omega plus omega c minus omega m. Alright, so this is your frequency domain representation of the conventional amplitude modulated signal or double sideband with carrier signal. Okay, now since we have the frequency domain analysis with us, so we can easily plot the spectrum of this signal. Okay, let us try to plot the spectrum over here. This will be with respect to the frequency. Let's say this is the origin. Okay, so the first component is an impulse, a shifted impulse by omega c and its negative counterpart, right? And the amplitude is AC pi. Okay, so this is a shifted impulse omega c and at minus omega c, and the amplitude is AC into pi. Alright. Further, the next we have plotted these two things. Okay, next we have again shifted impulses with a different amplitude, and the shift is also by different quantity, which is omega c plus omega m, omega and the negative counterpart omega c plus omega m. Alright, and the amplitude is AC mu pi by 2. Okay, mu, the value of mu lies between 0 to 1. The standard value of mu lies between 0 to 1. We'll discuss the reason for that later on. But as of now, you can you have to know that the value of mu lies between 0 to 1. So obviously this AC pi mu by 2 will be lesser than this AC pi. Okay, so we have shifted impulses at omega c plus omega m minus of omega c plus omega m, and the magnitude of this is AC mu pi by 2. Okay, and then again we'll plot the third term, which is again shifted impulses. Amplitude is same as that of the upper sideband, so it will be something like this. So this point will be omega c minus omega m. So this is the spectrum of the conventional amplitude modulated signal or the double sideband with carrier signal. So clearly you can see there are three components. One is your carrier, this is your carrier, this is your upper sideband, and this is your lower sideband. This is one of the first takeaway we get from this spectrum. Second important analysis from this: what is the bandwidth of this modulated signal? Bandwidth is the band of frequencies in which major energy is being concentrated. So these are the three frequency components that are present, and these are present in this band. Okay, so bandwidth is equal to twice of omega m. Bandwidth is this band, and this band is nothing but omega c plus omega m minus omega c minus omega m, that is equivalent to twice of omega m. So always remember, bandwidth of a conventional amplitude modulated signal or DSBC signal is twice of omega m. Now let us analyze this AM conventional amplitude modulated signal with some different perspective. Let's say our message signal, which is a low frequency sinusoidal signal, is something like this. Alright, and just I'm giving you the rough sketches. Is something like this. It's a high frequency carrier signal. All right, frequency omega m, omega c. So the modulated signal, the conventional modulated signal XAMT, the time domain version of that signal will something look like this. Let's see. So this is how your amplitude modulated signal will look like in time domain, where this, let us label these points, this would be AC, this point will be AC minus AM, the topmost peak point will be AC plus AM. You could easily correlate these points. Okay, so this is your envelope for this signal, right, which traces the peak amplitude values. Alright, now let us, with the help of this representation, let us understand the significance of the modulation index. Okay, so we know that the maximum amplitude Vmax available with us is AC plus AM, and the minimum amplitude is AC minus AM. Let us name this Vmax and V minimum. Alright, now we know that the modulation index mu is equal to ratio of AM by AC. So can we alternatively represent this ratio AM AC as Vmax minus Vmin divided by Vmax plus Vmin, right? We can easily represent it in this way also, right? Now, where Vmax is equal to AC plus AM, or we can say it is AC into 1 plus mu, right? Similarly, Vmin is equal to AC minus AM, or equal to AC into 1 minus mu. Now let us critically analyze the significance of this modulation index. We can have different cases, or for the modulation index, mu can be less than 1, mu can be equal to 1, mu can be greater than 1. These are the possible scenarios that we have, right? So such a scenario, mu between 0 to 1, this is the case of under modulation. We call it as under modulation. This is your critical modulation, and this mu greater than 1 is known as over modulation scenario. Let us see why we call it under modulation, critical modulation and over modulation, right? So let us understand the first scenario, under modulation. Where the value of mu lies between 0 to 1, right? So we know that Vmax is equal to AC into 1 plus mu, and V minimum is equal to AC into 1 minus mu. So for this case of under modulation, where mu lies between 0 to 1, both these quantities Vmax and Vmin will be positive, isn't it? That means if we analyze this time domain representation, this is V minimum, this is V maximum. These both Vmin and Vmax are positive. They will lie in the positive half of this plane and of the similar polarity. That means this is kind of a representation of, you can say, the under modulation scenario. This is nothing but your under modulation scenario. isn't it? Let's draw it again. Something like this. Right, so the V minimum and V maximum both are positive, and there is no overlap between the two lobes, the positive and the negative lobes, and still there is some scope of modulation left. So this is kind of a desired scenario because there is no interference between the positive and the negative slope, and there is no distortion in the modulated signal. Okay, and still there is some scope of modulation left. This is the reason we call it under modulation. Right, now comes the second case, mu is equal to 1, which is for critical modulation. For mu is equal to 1, what is Vmax? Vmax is AC into 1 plus mu, and V minimum is AC into 1 minus mu. So this is V minimum will be 0, and this will be twice of AC, right? So if we try to plot it again, do something like this. So these positive and the negative envelope, they touch each other. So this can also come under desired category because they're just touching each other, they're not overlapping with each other. So there is no distortion in the modulated signal. Okay, the positive and the negative envelope, they're just touching each other, there is no overlap. Okay, so this can also come into the desired category. Now comes the third case, that is over modulation, where value of mu is greater than 1. So Vmax is AC into 1 plus mu, and V minimum is AC into 1 minus mu. This is a positive quantity and this is a negative quantity. Now it is a problematic case. Why so? Let us analyze it. Vmax is positive but Vmin is negative. This is your Vmin, this is your Vmax. This is positive, this is negative. Similarly, if we talk about the negative envelope, Vmax will be positive and Vmin will be negative. There will be distortion in this region. The modulated signal will be distorted. This is the reason it is an undesired scenario. This is an undesired scenario, and the range of modulation index, mu is kept between 0 to 1. Mu is equal to 0 obviously means there is no modulation. Okay, so we can exclude the equal to 0 part. Mu is equal to 0 means there is no modulation at all. Okay, so the range of modulation index lies between 0, the desired range of modulation index, although it can be more than 1, but that is an undesired scenario because that will lead to distorted version of the modulated signal. So hence the desired range of the modulation index is from 0 to 1. Alright, so that is all for this lecture. We'll continue with the same in the next lecture. Thank you.